seated, right?
Yeah.
We want to be comfortable. Our number one goal right now is comfort. So pillow, blanket, blocks, any kind of bolster. Anything that would bring a little more comfort. We're going to be centering. So just bringing ourselves into crisscross, legs out front, anything like that, whatever works best. And we want to try to be tall. So just pressing our hips down into the mat or the pillow, if that would help us to be taller. And then from there, we want to stack. So go ahead and give ourselves whatever wiggles we need and start to stack the ribs over the belly right over the hips. Shoulders are stacked on top of the ribs. And we're going to start palms up. And just as we go around the fingers, pressing the thumb and the first finger, and then the middle finger, moving down the fingers, just moving through that as we breathe. Maybe we close our eyes. And every time that we bring one of the fingers into touch with the thumb, let's activate our focus. So we'll breathe in, close a finger, and exhale, actively change. Continuing through that, really just moving as slowly or quickly as you choose to. Letting the action of moving the thumb, bringing the finger and the thumb toward one another, noticing the connection. And rather than starting over, maybe we reverse. Maybe as we get to the pinky finger, we move backward to the ring finger and back through. And then we just start to very slowly open the hands wide and then squeeze them together, making a tight fist. We're going to breathe and open. Exhale through the nose, lengthen the spine, close the hands. Breathe and open. And exhale. We want to stay actively focused on our breath and the movement of our hand. Maybe we start to attach the breath to the move. We're going to continue through, opening the hands wide, taking ourselves a little taller, and we're just going to tip the top of our head from side to side. As we pass through the center, we breathe in and reach the crown to the sky. We'll exhale and reach the crown to the side. Breathing in and out and in and out. Now as we breathe in and get taller, feeling our hips pressing down, on our exhale we're going to notice the opposite shoulder dropping away. Breathing up. Exhale, drop away. Breathing up. Exhale, drop. Breathing up. Exhale, drop. Now we're going to breathe up again and exhale, take our head over to the side as far as we can. Notice the opposite shoulder reaching toward the floor. And let's pay close attention to the distance that we're making in the side of the neck. Feel that distance becoming even more present. Feeling the neck becoming even longer. In this space, let's take the ear on top and reach it toward the sky. Notice any differences there. Notice how that felt. We're continuing to sit tall. Our hands continue to be very big and open onto the leg, onto the knee. And now from here, we're going to use the crown of the head to slowly draw the longest line possible away from the neck, away from the heart, forward. And now we're reaching the head as far forward as possible, bringing the shoulders as far back as possible, and creating the longest spine in our ability. In this space, we continue to breathe, and we're thinking about bringing the back of the neck toward the sky. Let's take a big breath in, and this time we're just going to start to soften everything, the fingers, the neck, the head, the shoulders, the spine, the belly. Let everything really fall forward. Now our breath is going to inflate the body, and we'll sit tall again. And now we're going to change the way we're sitting. We'll take the other leg in front and bring it all into a comfortable place again. We'll open and close the hands. We're going to open them big, leave them out very big. Bringing the head up again. The crown is reaching up, and this time as we come side to side, we're going to think about our shoulders reaching back. Think about bringing warmth, fluidity, mobility. Those are the things we want to find in our neck right now, maybe even in our jaw. We want to feel the warmth moving down into the shoulders. And we're going to take our head all the way over to the other side. And once again, we're seated tall, hips are pressing down. Our opposite shoulder is reaching away from the crown of the head. And from here, we're going to start to lift the ear that's on top, drawing it away from the earth, away from the body, noticing the long line that we're making, and noticing how that feels. Bringing ourselves to be aware of any tightness, and certainly aware of any pain. Breathing into that long line. Exhale, lifting the ear a little more, drawing the crown away from the shoulder. We're going to maintain the longest line possible as we bring the crown of the head toward the front, drawing the shoulders back, squeezing them together, drawing the belly in. The chin is tucked. We feel our throat being constricted and feel our neck being very open in the back. Lifting the back of the neck toward the sky. Breathing in and out. And on the exhale, we'll relax the fingers, relax the neck, relax the belly and the shoulders. Let everything roll forward. We're going to breathe and inhale. Inflate the body. Let's bring both legs out. So we'll just use our hands to assist. Bring our legs out to the front. Wiggle the toes. Notice how we feel here. Do we feel like we'd like to have something under? Anything that we'd like to have under the legs? I'm going to grab a little bolster here. got one knee for sure that wants to be assisted. So we're just bringing ourself into Dandasana. Finding our most comfortable staff pose. Again, we're very tall. The spine is very long. We're going to float the hands down and around on the breath, just brushing the fingers across. And on the exhale, just letting them cross in front. We'll start to hinge, breathing up. Exhale, hinge forward. What does that feel like to you? Where do you want to go with that? Breathe up. Let the hands come forward, around, down. Breathing up. Exhale, hinging from the hips. And then dropping over. We're thinking about a long, flat back. Breathing up, long and flat, and drop. Breathing up. Exhale, reach and drop. Let's do that 2 more times. Breathing up. Exhale and reach and drop. And breathe. Now we're going to stay over and we're just going to hold on to the leg. Maybe it's by the calf, maybe it's low by the ankle. If you're warm enough and flexible enough to go ahead and reach for the toes. Whatever's comfortable. Give ourselves permission to be comfortable. And we want to notice any wiggles and squiggles that our body wants to take. We'll give ourselves that. Be mindful of our focus. Walk ourselves up. We will not let our mind drift away, but rather stay focused on what we're feeling. We're bringing one leg up. Maybe that leg is going to cross over. If that feels good, try it and see. If not, we leave it on the outside. Doesn't matter. And we want to be up as tall as we can, and we want to bring dynamic tension between the hand on the leg and the leg itself. So neither of them are moving, but they're both working and resisting. We're going to breathe up. On the exhale, let's bring our fingers down to our shoulder, and we're going to let our elbow reach as far back as we can. Now in this place, we're just going to make some little circles with our elbow in one direction and then the other. Let's let the hand reach all the way out and up and around and change. Just warming up the shoulders, warming up that part of the arm and the whole side body, breathing up, deciding if we want this one to cross. It doesn't have to just because the other one did. We're going to reach up as we turn, bring the fingertips to the shoulder. Our gaze is to the back corner. We're going to circle the elbow and reverse. We'll let it all the way out. Bring it up and around. We'll come into seated. Feet outside of the hips. We're going to come around, clasping the hands together. We're going to breathe up. And on the exhale, roll the shoulders. Let's think about bringing every rib, the sternum, the collarbone, and the heart forward as if we were trying to reach the whole front of the body through the opening of the legs. In this position, let's think about the hips. Let's let our hips feel as if they're widening, only temporarily. We will not end up with wide hips. Now from here, we're going to take a breath and we're going to reach up a little bit more and dive forward and down. Start the exhale as we reach over the space in our lap and we start to round. Maybe we bring our hands to the inside ankle, to the arch of the foot, wherever we can be, and round the body. In this position, let's think about bringing the spine the space between the shoulders, the middle back, all of that is moving away from our legs. We're noticing a stretch through the shoulder. We'll unfold and come back around. This time we're going to hold behind the leg, roll the shoulders, lift the crown, open into a seated cat pose, round into cow. So as we come forward, we're into the sits bones, bringing the pelvic floor toward the floor. Everything is front and open. Now we lift the top of the head, dive it forward as we tip back toward the sacrum. The sits bones are now reaching forward. Breathing, reaching out. Exhale, contract. Breathe and reach. And exhale, contract. We'll come up to seated tall, and we're going to let our feet come apart. We're going to wiggle around until we can get into this wide leg seated position. And we're going to bring our hands to the middle so that now our tricep is near the bend of the knee, just above that, at the very bottom of the inner thigh. So we're going to use our legs to push into our arms, and our arms will push into our legs. So there's dynamic tension there. The thumbs are at the heart, and we want to lengthen the body. So we're starting to feel some movement, some stretching in the inner thigh, the groin. Breathe and reach all of that forward. Now we're going to maintain the placement of the arms and the elbows. And we're going to try to maintain the push that's there as we release the hands and we bring the hands low to the leg. So with the hands wrapping on the ankles and pressing the elbows in, we've created a very wide space in the leg. Let's breathe and lengthen more and think of hinging at the hip. Think of using our hands on our legs to draw the front of the body a little more forward. And we'll breathe some more. Exhale forward. Drawing the shoulders back, finding length in the spine. We might need some more wiggles here. So our connections are hands on the ankles, elbows and the low tricep into the bend of the knee. And the head is reaching away from the hips. The hips are pressing down into the mat. Now from here, we're just going to bring our hands to the floor and then start to let them move under the leg on one side and then the other. And we can find that we now have our hands out here. This is a turtle pose. I use this a lot in our kids' classes, but it's so great for the back and that space where we find ourselves rounding over a computer or rounding over our phone, or even if we are stitching or working a puzzle. So we're going to think about the place where our shoulders meet our ribs. Hands or palms down onto the floor. We're going to still use the bend of the elbow into the bend of the knee. We're going to take a breath, and as we exhale, we're going to use our hands and our arms against our leg to lengthen the spine. As we stay lengthened in our spine, we're going to crawl out a little more with our hands and maybe with our feet. Breathe and lengthen. On the exhale, drop just the head. Everything else is still long. Dropping the head, allowing the nose to turn side to side. We'll unfold everything slowly, bringing ourselves back out of our turtle pose. Drawing the legs in all the way, as close as they can come to our hips. Wrapping around in this little tiny ball. We'll take a breath, expand our spine, lengthen On the exhale, squeeze everything as much as we can. In this squeezed, tall space, look side to side. Just drawing the nose over, breathing in and breathing out. No particular plan. From here, we're going to bring our legs all the way back out. And we're going to find ourselves seated a little bit wide-legged. What does that mean? What does it mean to you? A little bit wide-legged. What feels good? Do you want to be seated taller with your legs this way? Do you want to bring something underneath one knee or the other? Whatever you choose is perfect. In this place, we're going to start some circles. So we'll bring our hands into rest on the floor, resting into the legs somewhere, maybe even into the lap. It doesn't matter as long as we can sit up really tall. We're going to start the circles with our head. We want to draw the longest line possible, reversing when we're ready. So let's think about how far we went to the right side, and let's go that far to the left. Reversing, thinking about how far we're going to reach forward, and let that be how far we reach back. Reversing again, breathing in and out, and circling again. Let the shoulders round and reach forward, and open back out. And round and reach forward, and open back out. Give everything a shake. Wiggle the fingers and the toes, the knees and the legs and the shoulders. Give yourself a shimmy. Let's come around into all fours. We're just taking our time. We're going to get there when we get there. We're going to use a knee pad if we want to. We're going to have a blanket. Whatever we want to have is perfect. We're going to think about drawing our belly in and then letting go of the belly and letting it hang loose. We want to notice the difference in that. Engage the belly, pull it in, and notice how that feels in the lower back. And then letting it go, notice how that feels maybe in the hips. Breathing in, noticing this neutral spine, being engaged, pressing the fingers down, and then releasing and relaxing all of that. Now we'll come back into that activated state. The belly is nice and strong inside. The head is reached away from the hips, and the hips are reached away from the head. We're going to breathe and reach up, drop the belly, even though it's still engaged, it's not hanging. We've allowed it to place into the low place. Coming back into cat, exhale here. Breathe. Drive the belly down, lift the head and the tail. Exhale, pull the spine upward. Force the head and the tailbone toward one another under the body. And now force the head and the tailbone toward each other on top of the body. Exhaling under, we're slowing the breath. We are deliberately placing everything where we would like for it to be. We're activating the entire core through the movement. Once we feel even, we're going to come into our neutral spine. And then from here, drawing that belly button into the spine once more and reaching the top of the head to the side of the body toward the hip, and then the top of the head toward the other hip. Breathing to the middle, exhaling to reach to the side. Breathe in, contracting one side, expanding the other. Let's notice that. We breathe to neutral, contract and expand. Breathing in and out. We're back into our neutral spine. From here, we're going to breathe slightly forward, feeling what happens here in the wrist and the hands, the forearm. And then as we come back, we'll find our child's pose. We'll not be here long. Using the fingertips to pull back forward. From here, we're going to reach our hands out to the corners of the mat. Drop the chin, open the throat, glancing toward the end of the mat, letting the hips be high, finding our puppy pose here. We'll bring ourselves back into our squared all fours. We're going to let our knees come in very close to one another, maybe touching. And then we're going to let our hands come about one hand length forward. So we're slightly forward from our knees. If you feel like you'd like a little bit more work, take the hands a little bit more forward. We're going to breathe forward into a little incline, pressing into a wrist stretch, bringing it almost to child's pose. Breathing forward. This time we'll exhale with a little chaturanga. Breathing up and exhaling back. Twice more through the flow. Breathing forward, using the fingertips, feeling this work, engaging with intention. Breathing in, exhaling back. Let's draw the hands slightly closer to one another, almost as if they feel too close. Notice the elbows brushing the rib cage, coming back. This time we're going to come all the way into our child's pose. We can cross the arms, rest the forehead, or maybe we'd like to bring our hands back, drop the top of the head. We're going to take a breath here and notice the difficulty. Exhaling. Breathing in. Even when it's difficult, we can still find that breath. Let's create some space under the chest, and we're going to bring one hand through, palm up. We'll find the place that's the most stretch for us. Draw the heart back toward the mat and just release into this stretch. Making any adjustments that we need to so that we're not pinching or hurting or feeling any pain. We'll release and come out. Finding that child's pose again. What's the best child's pose for you right now? Take another breath. Allowing the back ribs to expand here. Drawing that breath in and out. We'll create space again. We're going to bring the other arm through. Noticing how this one feels compared to the other. Knowing that it's just fine. However it feels is how it feels. Let's see if we can't relax into that. Notice how the rest of the body is feeling in this position. And then we'll unfold. This time bringing both hands next to the head, reaching the top of the head toward the mat. So we folded the chin under. And we're going to bring our hands back to our heels. We'll take a big breath here. We're going to move into rabbit pose. So this is our little bunny. We have our bunny ears on the mat. We're going to lift our cotton tail up to the sky. We're holding onto our heels. Now, we're not holding ourselves up or balancing on our head. We can still lift our head if we choose to. It's just touching the floor. Now, the more we bring our hips forward toward our head, the better stretch we're going to have in the shoulders. Just letting that feel good. We'll lower the hips back down. We'll bring the hands back next to the head and take a breath. On our exhale, we're going to use our hands to push ourselves up. We'll bring our gaze to the end of the mat. Then we're going to come and lay all the way out on our belly. So just walking ourselves out. We can come to plank, or we can leave our knees on the floor. We're going to find that incline or find the plank, breathing big, and on the exhale, slowly lowering the body, staying in as much control as we possibly can. And we'll bring either a pillow under the face or fold the hands one on top of the other and just find ourselves rested. We're going to turn our toes under, lift the knees, and turn the knees to face outward, and also turn the feet to face outward. We're going to bend one knee and flex, and on the way back, we're going to really press with the top of our foot. We're going to breathe in and flex the other foot, bend the knee. Exhale, take it away. As we do this, can we draw the belly into the spine? Exhale, press away. Breathe in. And exhale, press away. And breathe in. And exhale, press. Breathing all the way in, all the way out. One more each side. Breathing in. Exhale, press away. Pulling that belly in. Big breath. Big exhale. We're going to move into our cobra pose. In cobra, we're going to have our hands right here on the mat next to us, and we're not going to be pressing ourselves up with our hands, but rather using our heart to manipulate the arch in the back. So with the feet pressing down, the top of the leg pressing down, and acting as if we're trying to hold something between our legs. So we're squeezing our legs toward one another. We'll take a breath and lift the chin, lift the gaze. On the exhale, we'll press the belly into the mat and reach the heart forward. Breathing here, exhale, press, lift the heart, lift the gaze. Big breath, exhale, press the belly, lift the heart, lift the gaze. And as we come down, we're going to lengthen the top of the head away, 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 and away. And then from here, we're going to make our way onto the side of our body. So if you want to put something under your hip, you can. If you've got enough cushion, that's fine too. And then we're going to come all the way onto our side body. We're just going to move the legs, move the hips. If you want to use a pillow here, that's absolutely fine to do. The leg that's on the bottom is going to be bent, and that's going to help us with our balance. The hand on the top is going to be on the floor. That's also helping us with our balance. Now this leg is going to come up, and we're just going to use our knee to make some circles, circling around in one direction and the other. Let's think for just a moment about the side body. Let's see if we can lift our ribs off the mat by pressing our hips down and pressing our shoulder down. And let's also notice that our hips are stacked one on top of the other, that our top hip is not reaching forward or leaning back. And then from here, we're going to see if we can hold on to our leg or our foot or our hamstring. Somehow or another, we're connected, our hand and our leg. We're going to take a breath and bring the knee forward. On the exhale, we're going to take it back, and it's going to stay back. We're going to circle the foot. Can you see my foot circling back there? And lift it up pretty high away from the body. And then from here, we're going to draw the hand, leg, or the hand-foot connection away from the front of the body. We might want to extend the bottom leg out some more and really create a lot of stretch here. Now let's be mindful of the knee. If we feel any kind of weird feeling, anything wonky in the knee, then we want to come out of that or lessen the stretch. Just find what feels good for you here. And then we'll start to unfold, releasing the tension there, coming back around. Now the leg that was on the top is going to come forward. And the leg that's on the bottom is going to stretch all the way out. The hand on the top is going to stretch all the way. So let's think about the extended leg and the extended arm. Can they move more away from one another? Let's relax the arm, bringing that back in. We're going to let the top hip begin to move toward that extended leg. Notice what's happening to the shoulder that we're laying on. So we're getting a stretch through the inner thigh and also coming around onto the shoulder. And then we're going to come back out. And we can either just roll right over, or we can come around and change sides, whatever's working for us. So we're going to set up in the same way. We have one leg bent underneath. And we'll decide what feels good on this side. Does it feel good to have a pillow under the head? Do we need the bended arm? Whatever's working is fine. Maybe a block. We'll bring the hips stacked on top of each other. The ribs are pulled up away from the mat. We have the hand for support. And we're going to circle the knee. And then we'll go the other way. We're going to bring that knee up. And we're going to hold on to the leg, the foot somewhere. We'll bring it very forward. And then we'll start to bring it back. Let's find the hand-foot connection. We'll take a big breath here. Maybe we circle the foot some more there. And then we'll start to draw it back. The hand and the foot are both drawing away from the hip. Maybe that bottom leg wants to come out. What feels good on this side? It doesn't have to match the other side that we did. It can be whatever it feels. Opening out that hip, breathing into it, trying to relax in this place. We'll start to bring it back, stacking everything back up. The hand comes to the mat, the leg comes forward. We'll extend the leg on the bottom and the arm on the top and create the longest stretch we can possibly create here. Reaching far, far away. And we'll bring that back. Now we'll start to bring the hip toward the floor, the heart toward the bent arm, finding ourselves in a stretch here. The more we can release, the better the stretch is going to be. Trying not to brace or bind. We use our hand to unfold, coming out of that. Now from here, we're just going to go right over to our belly. We have another shoulder stretch that we're going to do. So with our body here facing the floor, we're going to extend one arm all the way out to the side, and the other arm is going to press into the mat. So if I show you on this side, you can see the arm. This arm is here. We're going to turn our face to look at the hand that's on the mat, and then we're going to use that same side leg to bend the knee, just as we were just a little bit ago. Now we're going to use this hand to roll over. So I'm actually going to turn to the other side so I can demonstrate this a little bit better for you. We're only going to move to the place that feels the best for us. So with this arm extended all the way out to the side, we're going to bring our hip over on top of the other and maybe lift this leg behind the other. So we're using our hand on the floor and this foot on the floor behind us, but we don't have to. If we're getting the shoulder stretch that we need from this, then we can just stay in this position. But know that we have the option to move in any way that we would like to. Another option is to bend this arm. Our own body knows what we need from this. So finding our best place, we'll roll into that stretch. And come out. And then we'll get ready to do the other side. So you can just stay where you are and do that. I'm going to adjust myself so that I don't make too terrible of a noise on this microphone. Reaching one arm out, extending one leg away from the heart, and the other comes to the back of the body, or it stays forward. Whatever your shoulder needs there. And then we'll bring ourselves back. Let's come up into our little seal pose. So here we are with our arms under the shoulders, and we'll drop the hips. We're going to bring the gaze forward, but not up, simply forward. And from here, we're going to think about bringing our heart and our ribs forward and through the elbows. Shoulders are back and down, and the belly is released. The hips are loose. Now we're going to fold out by dropping the chin, breathing in and bringing the belly button into the spine, pressing with the hands and the top of the feet to fold back into our child's pose. Just taking our time, moving through, bringing the arms back, and finding the place we'd like to be for child's pose. And we're just going to stay in child's pose for a couple of breaths. While you're here, I want you to think where the nearest pillow, blanket, or some type of bolster might be, even a shirt. We're going to come out and bring that, whatever we have nearby, into our lap. We're going to fold over into our child's pose. By lifting our belly up and creating a little bit more space between the leg and the heart, we're going to give more stretch into the sacrum and the lower back. Where do the arms want to be? Wherever they choose to be. So now it's going to be a little more difficult to reach the forehead to the mat. So what if we drop and let the top of the head come toward the mat, like we did in our rabbit pose? We're just going to start to relax here. Just breathe in and out. If there's space between your head and the floor, maybe you give just a slight bounce. Maybe it goes side to side. Just see if you can find some length in the neck so the head can hang. We're going to walk ourselves in. We're going to come into a meditation. So we want to be in our seat. If you would rather do this reclined, we are going to take Shavasana. But if sitting is too much for you right now, then you go right on down. This is all for you, whatever you want. But we want to be in the most comfortable place we can possibly be. We're going to let the little dimple at the top of the wrist, right here in the bottom of the hand, come into this bony place of the knee. Let's see if we can connect that. And that's where our focus is going to turn. We're going to close the eyes, breathe in and out. Let's notice the hand-knee connection. And then as we exhale, let the crown of the head reach closer to the sky. Breathe in. Notice the hands and the knees. On the exhale, lengthen the neck and relax the jaw. Breathe in. Notice the knees and the hands. Exhale. Drop the shoulders. Let them draw back toward one another. Breathe in. On the exhale, let the ribs feel wide. Let the underarms feel open. Breathe in. Notice the hand and the knee. Exhale. Let the bottom ribs close toward the hip bones. Breathe in and notice the hands on the knees. Exhale. Create space in the belly. Breathe in. Notice the hands and the knees. Wiggle the fingers. Exhale. Bring the sacrum back toward the belt loops. Breathe in. Notice the hands and the knees. On the exhale, press the hips down into the floor. Release the hip flexors. Breathing in. Notice the hands and the knees. On the exhale, let's bring the pelvic floor parallel to the earth and to the mat. Breathe in. Notice the hands and the knees. On the exhale, release the quadricep. Release the hamstring. Let the knees be soft. Breathe in and notice the hands and the knees together. And on the exhale, wiggle the toes. Release the ankles and the feet. From here, we're going to turn the hands. The back of the hand comes to the knee. The palms are open. The fingers are relaxed. Let's be mindful of our breath. We're going to breathe in. As we breathe out, let's exhale the mouth. And we're going to breathe in. And on our exhale, we're going to sigh. Breathe in the nose. And once again, sigh. Let's do that one more time. Breathe in. And exhale and sigh. We're doing that again and our mouth is going to close. We're going to breathe in. Exhale, sigh with the lips closed. Let's do that 2 more times. Breathe in. Exhale. And again, see if we can let that come through the throat. And as we're seated and we're calm, let's notice the calm. Our mind is focused on the calming breath, the comfortable way we're seated, and the space that we're holding, not just in our body, but around our mat, within the space of the room. Let's visualize every inch of space that we're taking up. Can we take up 1 more 1/4 inch in every part of our body? Wiggling the toes and wiggling the fingers. Let's drop out of this and let everything just move to one side and everything move to the front. Let everything move to the other side. Let everything open to the back and fold back to the center. Let's reverse that. Sitting tall, breathing in. Let everything fold and move to the other side first, and fold and move to the front, and fold and move to the other side, and then roll and open all the way out. And come back to the top. We're going to make our way down to the mat, finding whatever space we'd like to be for Shavasana. Maybe that's a bolster or a pillow under our knees. Maybe something's under the neck, under the head. Maybe we would like to cover our body with a blanket. We're just going to take our time and get into our place. Do we want our feet on the floor? With our knees pulled in toward one another? Do we want to extend our legs long? Or do we want to be in a little butterfly, giving our body any wiggles or squiggles, whatever our body would like to have. We're breathing in and breathing out, finding ourselves in our most comfortable position. Right now, I want us all just to give ourselves permission to feel what we feel. So let's take note of that. In the physical body, what do we feel? Do we feel warm, lengthened, aches or pains? Maybe we just feel yummy. Whatever word meets your mind on how you feel in your physical body right now, let's accept that as our self-truth at this time. We have permission to feel what we feel emotionally. What emotions are we feeling? Happiness, sadness, loneliness, isolation. Are we feeling trapped in our mind, trapped in our body, trapped in our home? Are we feeling stuck? Maybe we happen to be feeling very open right now because of the practice that we've had. Maybe our intention was to open ourselves. Whatever is our truth, let's be true to self. Whatever is happening in the here and the now, let's give ourselves permission to feel whatever mental state that we are in. Our mental state is very connected to our emotions. Maybe they are the same. Maybe they are different. Maybe we feel sad and we don't know why. Maybe that's because we are lacking a social connection. Now that we have noticed how we feel in these places, let's give ourselves permission to say what we need to say. If there's something that we need to say to ourselves, whether that's outwardly through a journal, maybe we need to write a letter to who we used to be, thanking our former self for being open to change. Maybe we need to apologize to our former self for doubting our own power, or maybe for being a little mean. But let's also grant ourselves grace and mercy, forgiveness, tolerance, and understanding. Let's give ourselves permission to remove ourselves from a situation, to make changes in the way that we are treating ourselves or treating others, maybe creating some healthy habits. As we start to relax, let's breathe and move back through our mantra that states, we will breathe in our self-acceptance, accepting of the here and the now, accepting of our truth, knowing that there is not a right or wrong, just the truth. As we breathe in and we breathe out, let's focus on gratitude, finding gratitude for every moment, grateful for the things that we have in our physical presence, and also grateful for our feelings, grateful that we can feel what we feel physically, emotionally, mentally. Breathing in and breathing out, noticing changes that might need to be made. Maybe there's some way that we can improve the way we feel. Noticing that even though it is how we feel, maybe it's affecting how we approach situations. Maybe it's affecting how we approach others. If this is having a negative effect in relationships or in our social connections, maybe we can direct that change. Continuing our breath, let's commit to our best work, working with honesty, integrity, and excellence in all the ways. From here, just breathing in and breathing out, focused on our breath, letting our body melt into the mat. We'll start to notice our breath, realize that we've slowed the breath, and just start to let our eyes move behind our eyelids. Maybe take a yawn, opening the jaw, letting that out. And right here in this place, giving our body any last stretch. Maybe it's a good morning stretch, with the arms and the legs extended all the way out. Maybe we draw our knees in. And we might need to rock the body. Maybe the feet are on the floor and our knees can swipe side to side. We're going to gently let our body move over to our side, finding our little baby pose. And just giving ourselves a little hug. Just closing ourselves up with lots of love. We're going to come all the way back to seated. And we'll be in whatever way we want to sit. However we want to be is the exact perfect way to sit. Let's take one last little stretch forward. Circle the head, give the body any kind of wiggles and squiggles that it still needs. Let's let our last thought be how awesome we're going to sleep tonight. We're going to breathe all the way up. Let's clasp the fingers here. Squeeze them together and draw them down. We'll open the fingers back out to our prayer hands. And namaste. Peace for a wonderful evening. And the best sleep ever.